tense, thrilling, and took balls. But enough about the World Snooker Final.
I had no idea what you were going on about there. I was looking at you, I was with you. And then I was like, what balls? See, I was going to go for, and this is a little shout out to One Division fans, it was buckles all along. Woo!
Spoilers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, it's the end.
It's the end.
The end is nigh. Do you think this is... I'm getting the strongest feeling here that this is the end for AC12 and for this show.
You think that they won't make any more episodes?
I think it's left so that if there aren't any more episodes, it has concluded.
Well, I think there is enough there that makes me think they are definitely doing another season. Not least the ratings of this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there was enough planted there which makes me think they are going forward with a slightly different plot, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Okay.
What's your initial thoughts?
I thought it was really subtle. I liked the fact that there wasn't any... if I'm going to say there weren't any big moments, that's completely wrong. But there wasn't a moment like, let's say, Dot Cotton, urgent exit required.
Yeah.
That's always going to be my go-to moment. When they are interviewing Buckles, there's a shot where he goes outside of the glass cube and you think, something's going to happen.
Where's his phone?
Yeah, exactly. Something's going to happen. And then even at the end, where Ted goes back into Carmichael's, I thought, something's going to go on. Something really big and actiony is going to happen.
You wanted that and one more thing, didn't
you?
Yes,
there's something else going to turn around the corner. But actually, that wouldn't ring true. And what he has done, what Mercurio's done with his writing, is he's been true to life.
Yeah.
He's done what would happen in real life is these things are swept under the carpet. This is exactly what has happened. We know this in terms of institutional corruption in large organisations. People's pictures are taken down off the wall and put in a box, and that's the end of that. It's pushed to the bad people. Bad things don't always happen to bad people, do they?
Yeah.
Incompetent people still work within organisations, and I think he's reflecting that real life in this show. So, whilst part of me was like, I'm ready for a really big ending, actually, I think I might have been disappointed if it had gone to that degree. So my initial thoughts are it's how well crafted this is and how I've come away thinking, yeah, that'll do me just fine. And yourself?
Oh, thanks for asking.
I was giving you the facial nod, like the and you with my eyes, but
So I think I wish this was an hour and a half episode, because I think there are certain things about the first 20 minutes, half hour that were completely rushed and clunky. I would go as far as saying
controversial.
Well, the messages I'm getting on my phone as I'm speaking says it's not. I was really happy with it. I was punching the air when the reveal of Buckles was made. You
called it.
I got it about 10 minutes before. It was a sort of a 3-part reveal of, it's this person, but they did sort of the Austin Powers thing of covering up everyone's face with like teacups and melons that were walking past. And then when it was him, I'm so happy about that.
You know what? I wouldn't have known it was Buckles unless you had said. I was so into it. I'm like, who could it be? Who could it be? And then when you said it, it made total sense.
It was the only person it could be, but there are a lot of people thinking it was lackluster. There are a lot of people thinking it. Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at the phone. I haven't looked yet.
I've got 2 texts but this is 7 minutes past 10 we're recording right now, so it's literally just finished, and I've had a text saying not having that and a text saying lackluster.
I totally disagree. So whoever you are on the phone,
there are people not happy with it being Buckles, which I think is brilliant.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. We've talked about this before, about incompetence, and we've worked long enough, we're both in our 40s, we've worked long enough to have seen people who are completely incompetent rise up the ranks, and you don't understand what they're doing there, or even when we've gone in, places of employment and seen people in things above us. You're looking at me now as if you're scared I'm going to say something.
And if you join our Patreon, Ellen will name the people.
But But you know what I mean. Everyone out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Mercurio's done one of his usual things, which is he's captured something that we all know in real life, which is where, you know, people who probably shouldn't be at that level are at that level and they get away with things, or their incompetence just kind of gets the roll of the eyes and a sort of like, oh well, they're just average or below average and we'll just keep dealing with them. This is Buckle's cover, and I loved that switch within the interview, because I don't think he is particularly highly competent. He's not your natural mastermind, and yet in that interview there's something there that says, yeah, actually, if when I'm behind a screen and when no one knows it's me, I can send out these instructions.
Yeah.
Because what does it matter? I'm just a faceless face.
Yeah.
Behind a computer in my big house.
I kind of wanted the Alex Jennings turn in the 3rd season of Unforgotten, making a reference that no one will know apart from you, where at the end of it he just turns into being essentially a sociopath. And we didn't get that, but should we go through the plot? Because we need to get
Let's
this
do
going.
that, yeah. We've got to get going.
So we start off with Steve watching the interview between Carmichael and Ted from season 5. And this starts off the secondary plot that Ted is the one who leaked the information to the OCG in season 5. Kate and Steve meet up, and on my note is Kate finds out Steve is, I'm not going to use the word that I'm saying, but Steph.
Oh, right, okay. He's having... Well, as he rightly says, it's not like that, mate.
Yeah.
And it's not. We know it's not. It's just
it kind of is with
He's
Steve.
finding comfort, but he's not finding comfort in the usual way that he
finds
does.
comfort with a lot of different people.
Yeah, I know he does, and she's kind of like, yeah, right.
Strongbox has been found under the laboratory?
Laboratory?
Yeah, laboratory.
Is it really a laboratory?
Workshop.
Yeah, that's it.
We then get the thing that has a slower build than the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, Steve at Occupational Health.
Oh, I was so pleased he was finally there, though, because I think another scene of him getting that little, urgent, you have not attended.
No, seriously, you need to get here now.
And what a great storyline, actually. When I saw him there and the guy who was talking to him, the person in Occupational Health, I thought this was a really lovely little line that goes through.
Yeah.
The line of duty. But, a lovely little thread towards the end about mental health and working in the police force. I thought it was lovely.
I'm really good. I didn't get to use my urgent appointment required joke.
Oh, sorry, love.
Yeah, you cut me off there. Last of our podcasts.
Yeah, it is. Final episode.
The guy from Occupational Health is massively passive aggressive, saying, "Oh, you're taking your time to book this in." It's like, yeah, I missed the emails. Yeah. Just go up in the corner.
Well, he just says I'm very busy.
He's like, yeah,
very busy. I'm very busy catching criminals.
Which I think is
it's fair enough.
Yeah, I think you can argue.
But he knows, doesn't he? He knows with the amount of drugs that are in Steve's system.
Yes, very high level of name of medication is my next note.
Yeah. But he doesn't judge, which is the bit that I really like. He doesn't judge him. He just says, you're under a lot of stress. And then he goes into listing all the people that Steve's seen die. And it's a complete reminder of everything Steve's gone through. Because we sort of like throw it, what happened to this? Someone went through a window. But he's seen so many people come to a really awful, demise.
Yeah, Tony Gates.
Yeah, in his car.
Georgia falling out a window.
Out a window.
We get a name for Ruby, who was the police person who was killed in episode 3 or 4 of the shootout. And my next note is shit follows Steve around. Yeah. So he's asked to turn in his firearms license, which he does.
Did you think something was going to come of that?
Yes, absolutely. Initially wrote Steve's dying here.
Steve does not have a gun.
Yeah. But Ted's very supportive of him. Steph Corbett is leaving him a voicemail still. Come on, love.
Come on, Steph. It's time to let it go, I think.
I think she needs to get on...
Spend that money.
Bumble or whatever it is. Or...
Bumble?
Is that the name of a dating app?
I thought that was the name of, No, I don't think it... I mean, it might be.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Are you going to look it up?
Yeah.
Do you need to find this out?
I might do
if
you keep on cutting off my jokes. Bumble, date, meet, network better.
Oh, well.
I mean...
Sponsored by Bumble.
They're putting
tonight's podcast.
They put date first so that you no longer have to read after that. We all know what people are using it for. Apologies to anyone using Bumble to meet or network it.
But she's got her money. She can use her money She's fine. I think she'll be fine. She doesn't need Steve.
Yeah, she's a good-looking lass.
Yeah.
She's got BT Sports. She can get people around to watch the Champions
Exactly.
League or the European Super League or whatever. So we get to the strongbox. It contains the pistol that shot Gail Vella. It contains gloves and a bomber jacket with the DNA of Carl Banks in it.
So that wraps that up.
And it contains a DVD box set of everyone who's been killed from the past 5 seasons.
I love the fact that Fake Dot also like sets them up and goes, I'm very sorry to have it's that proper like one-liner of prepare yourself. This information could be quite triggering.
Yeah. Monique's blood, Corvett's blood, Jackie Laverty's blood.
All the knives.
They're missing someone from season 2 and 3, but you know.
And totally forgot about Tony Gates having them when Tony Gates is knocked out in season 1. The OCG put the knife into his hand, put his prints on, and then they keep that
Yes.
as blackmail. I completely forgot about that. And you think, yes, of course, they've got to be keeping them somewhere. And here they all are.
We find out that the bodies were of Marcus Thirlwell and his wife who've been strangled in Spain.
For a long time ago as well, because
Yeah.
they're decomposed.
But they looked it.
Yeah. And you know, last week I thought, and I didn't say this on the podcast, but then people brought it up on Twitter. I honestly thought that one of the police officers that put his face to camera, you know, when they were doing the sort of the night vision,
Yeah.
he looked just like James Nesbitt in the eyes. And I thought, oh well, it's not him lying dead on the floor. He's one of the police officers. He's like hiding in plain sight. But that didn't come to anything. It's a lovely little Easter egg in there that wasn't.
A line de duty, season 7. Yeah, we're going to go to Spain. We're going to hunt down Marcus Thirlwell undercover in the police squad.
Is this because you've been learning Spanish
A little
and
bit.
you want to use it?
Yeah. Anyway, we find out that the IP addresses that the messages are coming from aren't from his apartment.
It's Spain anyway, so it's
which
just,
is exactly what I said last week.
You did, yes, well done.
There's no way that we use that.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit annoyed because I really wanted to. I like pointing out mistakes, and yeah. Amanda comes in, who I think is the 5th person because she's far too efficient.
We got really excited when Amanda walked in as well. I hope the rest of the world also appreciates Amanda quite as much as we do.
I think this is going to become an Amanda the Techie podcast after. So we get another message found with definitely in it. Joe's transported for an interview with the bodyguard. Doesn't have a name as far as I know. It looks from the paperwork that Lomax called it in with Kate undersigning it. Sort of, we had the split second of Chris being a baddie, and then no.
Oh no.
No, it's not.
No, he's been used.
They're chasing the white van. The black Range Rovers come out. I'd say this is the first clunky bit of the night.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. I didn't see this coming at all.
I think
When Steve gets out of the van, I'm like, oh, he's in the van.
because the reason you don't see it is because the language that we know of cinema says that we need more than just they're chasing them and then there's about 2 scenes missed out there.
You hear when they go under the underpass, when the white van goes, you hear intercept. So I thought, oh, well, they're intercepting. And they clearly have intercepted it. I really like the is it called a bait and switch? Is that what they
Yes.
call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not having that at all.
Oh, right.
To me, it misses out the setup scene. I felt really, really annoyed at that
If we
point.
put the setup scene in, then we know what's happening.
But
Isn't the joy of it to be like taken aback?
no, because I can't quite explain it. But I'm not a film student. But there is a way that you can do that, but it doesn't involve showing the whole chase and everything like that. I don't quite understand why. I think you don't show the person who's driving the van in that pot way or something like that. It's just a little bit too perfect. I mean, Fast and Furious do it all the time, and Ocean's 11, where they then go back and show how it happened.
Right, okay.
And that might be
you're saying.
what it's quite uncharacteristic of Line of Duty to do that. They wouldn't do it, but I think I needed something like that to explain how it happened. So Joe won't give up the name of the... Oh, no, sorry. My notes are, Joe won't give up the name of the person who she thinks is orchestrating it. Oh, hang on, they're going to the prison, so she might have.
Yeah.
This is done so quick. I think that this should have been an hour and a half episode because there is no time to breathe on that. That entire Joe scene goes in about 2 minutes.
I like it. I like the fact that we're not hanging around and we're also... these are dead ends. So, okay, Joe's going to get taken up by the OCG. No, she's not. If we strung that out forever, it would just be one of those, a bit like Jimmy Lakewell. We're just going back over the same ground over and over again. I like it. She was going to be taken off somewhere by the masked men. Now she's not. She thinks that this guy is her father. No, he isn't. And he's clearly not a criminal. Well, he's a criminal mastermind to a certain extent, but now he clearly has some form of dementia or Alzheimer's. And we work that out straight away. So we're going down the dead ends before we get our man. I personally like that. I wouldn't have wanted to stay there much longer.
And the person who she believes is her father is Fairbanks.
And did you get that as soon as they were outside the prison? Because it was the same place that Steve and Chloe had been to a few episodes before.
I didn't get it as soon as that.
Okay.
No.
I was like, oh, it's Fairbanks. I needed to interview and went, oh, it's Fairbanks. But then I thought,
I was going to say that would have been nice, but then I totally did the same with Buckles.
Exactly.
But, yeah. Ted looks nervous when Fairbanks is talking about things.
I don't think he was. I thought he looked incredulous. That's a word. Incredulous with anger is how I thought he looked.
I think they were trying to make you think that, but it wouldn't surprise me if the direction was nervousness.
Strong disagree.
No comment.
There are points in the show, in the episode in particular, where you're going back to Ted and you're looking at him. So when they're interviewing people, they do come back in, almost like in the previous seasons, to make you think that he is the person behind it all. He clearly isn't. He can't be.
I've got plenty of notes on that.
Okay.
I've got plenty of notes on that. Super Chloe finds details on some paperwork from 2003 showing people writing definitely. This is a bit of a farce as well, because they are going to, again, Austin Powers methods to go, oh, it's him. Oh, we're not going to mention his name. We never see the name. It just feels awkward to me. It's not just teasing you. It's actively withholding something that other people know about. And I find that quite uncharacteristic of this show. They don't normally do we're in the know, but no one else is, just purely for dramatic effect. However, I called it as soon as they said it. So
the reaction makes sense to me when they're looking at it and they're going, really?
Yeah.
Rather than, right, we've got our man, and all of that bravado that Ted normally brings to it. He's sort of looking at it going, well, it can't be him.
Yeah.
Because he's useless.
Yes.
But, of course, that's, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Kate and Steve take Ted to one side and confront him about the £50,000. He says he's handed an envelope, but officially that money didn't exist. He split it in two so that if the OCG came for it, it would be harder for them to bring back. He denies disclosing John Corbett's name, but did disclose there was an informant.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But this person had beat and tortured his wife, which
I forgot about that, because didn't he shoot her in the knees?
Yes, yeah. And it's again hinted that Ted could be John Corbett's dad.
Yeah. But he definitely had a relationship with John Corbett's mother. That's clearly, they were trying to point to it in the last season, but it's clearly what's happened.
I think that at points this season, Ted has become a little bit of a catchphrase machine. And the way that everyone lost their shit over Jesus, Mary, Joseph and the wee baby donkey, or whatever it was.
I don't think it was a baby donkey. It was just a wee donkey. It wasn't a wee baby donkey. I mean, it wasn't the smallest donkey.
Wouldn't be much use if it was a baby donkey, would it?
I don't get that joke.
Well, it wouldn't be much use if they were carrying stuff to Bethlehem on the back of a baby donkey. It'd be cruel.
Yes. Oh no.
But yeah, anyway, I think he's become a bit of a catchphrase machine, and I found it a little bit. Whilst everyone else is going, oh, brilliant, he's pulled out another one. I found it a little bit annoying all season. But this Adrian Dunbar is absolutely bringing it proper. His A game all the way through this episode, but especially in this scene.
So just a really small scene as well. It's not a long one.
Yeah.
But it's so subtle and quiet, and the redness in the eyes, but without crying.
Yes.
And you can really feel that embarrassment to have to talk to his team because he's meant to be the gaffer, he's the one that's beyond repute, but also this shame that he feels within himself as well for his actions.
Yeah. So then we get to the interview, the key part in any Line of Duty finale.
Beep, a big long beep, and then a proper tracking shot across the three of them was lovely.
With just cupboards open in front of Buckles' face.
Carmichael.
Someone yawning just so the arms follow his face as they go past.
When I saw him walking in, I thought he was a guy with very little hair. I thought he was really balding and an old man. And so I was like, who is that? Because I was saying to you, I don't know who it is. And I know you'd already shouted out Buckles. No, not you. But you'd already shouted it out. And I was like, but it doesn't look like Buckles. And then obviously eventually it was. Carmichael was glaring from afar as well, which I thought was interesting.
So it's revealed that Buckles is the mastermind behind it all. IP routing from Spain, just like I effing said, says my notes.
Fair enough.
The subtitler, I hope, has not cleared the clipboard for the past week because Control V, no comment. Buckles has a hidden life with houses and
Cayman Island
corporations,
yeah. And lovely bit of acting between him and Kate, because like she said, she's worked with him undercover twice, and she's worked with him in MIT, and she says something about his suits being really cheap suits, and also the fact that he never gets around in. So he's just this hiding in plain sight, as we've said all the way along, haven't we? We've used that phrase so many times. There he is, just sitting in the background, playing away his little role, when actually he's got this beautiful house and all this money. And
Nigel Boyle's body language in this is absolutely perfect as he plays Buckles.
Agreed.
He's got that cockiness of, yeah, come on then, I'm not what you thought, whilst still no commenting every single question.
And every now and again, sort of coming out of it and sort of looking a little bit incompetent, looking a little bit worried, and looking at a thing, going, "Oh yeah, you might have got me here, and I don't really know how to get out of it." But actually, he's got an idea, hasn't he? He's like, "Well, this is not going to go anywhere."
There's a laptop under the floorboards, because there's always a laptop under the floorboard.
Fair enough.
And he turns to them and says, "I'll take immunity and witness protection. Thank you
very much." Yeah.
Because the police don't want this to be a thing.
No.
Did you notice Ted cutting him off? As he said, initially it was him and him pulling the strings, then it was Cotton and Hilton.
Yes, I did. And then it was me.
He says, and now it's, and Ted cuts him off and says, you. Yes. Just before he can name the person.
Yes, I did, yeah.
And also says, it's me you're going to need witness protection from. Ted's Ben.
He's not.
I know he's not.
Oh, I thought I was going to have that argument with you.
So, I think, again, I don't think they explained themselves too well with this. The way I understood it was, they trap him in a catch-22, where they will not give immunity if he doesn't cooperate, but that would mean that he's the person who ordered the shooting of Gail Vella, by which he would not be immune.
Because it's conspiracy to murder.
Yes. So he needs to name the person who is working with, who they assume to be Osborne in this. That was very, very quickly put through. And
Agreed.
I don't think there was enough exposition to help the other 50% of the audience who are still catching up with what's going on. I expect there was some people missed out that because as soon as they do that, he looks flummoxed and goes, oh.
And everyone walks out at that
and then
point.
everyone goes,
yeah.
So they're now celebrating. They hope Buckles cooperates. Didn't stop around to see if he goes, it was Osborne. Yeah.
No, 1 minute they're like sort of there, and then the next minute they're in the pub.
Yeah.
Going, cheers to you, mate.
And there was a few scenes like that where Steve's arresting someone and then Steve's in the police station, and they don't normally do that, which is why I think it needs an extra half an hour. And I never say that someone needs an extra half an hour.
You like to take all the hours away.
Steve's seen an MO?
Yes, medical officer.
I just wondered who Mo was all the way through.
You're just question marking that at me. You're looking at me like...
I mean, there's literally a question mark
next
to it.
Yeah, it's a medical officer. He's getting medical help.
Yeah.
That's good.
Kate's then shown in occupational therapy.
You're meant to think it's Steve, aren't you?
Yes.
But she's in there, which again is great. It's showing if you need help with your, with your mental health, and she equally has seen all of these deaths. She's split up from her husband. There's been no sign of the son, Josh, at any point. Who are going and picking him up and doing
They've got
stuff
every
with
actor in
him.
the world back, but they can't find that one.
They've got what?
They've got every actor in the world back from previous seasons, but they can't find that one.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be like that, hun. I think it's meant to be that she hasn't got enough time to see him, or things are difficult with the ex-husband. But it was nice to see her utilising occupational health in that way.
I do not want to see the romance between Kate and Steve, that they are clearly...
No, neither do I. I don't think they're going to take it anywhere. I think it's just that sort of, I've really missed working with you.
Oh, I think they are...
Really? Do you
Yeah.
think if it goes
Both
on...
in the pub and at the occupational therapist, I think they are totally hinting towards that.
Oh, right, like there's only one, I work with someone and he's got my back sort of thing.
Yeah,
She said to
and
me.
I love him, and I want to hold his hand and kiss him all night long. She did.
She didn't.
Check the subtitles, it's there.
No.
Anyway, my next note is their relationship would be a state.
It would be rubbish.
Because you see these two names together, Steve and Kate.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I know.
How long have you been working on this stuff?
Well, 32 minutes apparently.
Honestly. I realise you're making a lot of notes at the moment. Like, you've made loads of notes last week, and now it has transposed into
even
this.
more this week.
Wow. But the fact that you've had enough time whilst making the notes to think of these jokes. Yes. I don't know whether to be proud
I would be.
or worried. Anyway, lovely little joke there, love.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing says I love that joke than you go, oh, that was lovely.
That was really nice. Do you want me to pat you on the shoulder?
I feel like I'm being patted. Carmichael and Ted.
Have a little heart-to-heart.
Yes.
Well, he does a lovely speech.
He's in his civvies,
Yeah,
open collar.
Very nice. I like that jacket.
Okay. Bomber jacket. It's got Gail Valler's blood on it. Enforced retirement has been appealed.
Well, he's going to appeal. Yeah, it's leaving it open, isn't it? I'm going to appeal it. Doesn't mean he's going to get it.
Osborne's making a statement saying there's no institutional corruption.
Do you think they just play the same clip over and over again of Philip Osborne going, there's no institutional corruption here, my office is brilliant, I have acted on every wrongdoing, and there's no institutional corruption here.
I mean, that's
what he
also
said
so the
every
subtitler
time.
can just have another bit of text highlighted.
Every time they show him, he's on, like, I'm sure he's on the same steps as well.
I
Just
continue to
saying
assure
the
you.
same thing, with the two blokes behind him looking really angry.
It's like the speech equivalent of you have not seen the episode of The Simpsons where the Marge gets a Gucci dress and then cuts it up every time so that it's the same dress. It doesn't matter.
You're absolutely right, I have not seen that.
People will understand. Ted rants to her.
I thought it was a bit more than a rant. I thought it was a statement. Actually, what I thought at the time was, I felt it wasn't Ted speaking, I felt it was Jed Mercurio speaking.
Yes.
And giving us his overview of how he feels about institutionalised corruption and how he feels about the need for truth and integrity, particularly given the references he has made throughout all the series, but particularly in this series, to Stephen Lawrence and the case that you talked about.
Christopher Aldler.
Thank you. Which I've heard on another podcast. He said he was really hoping people would go and look up those cases, having heard that they were, that he was making reference to them.
Absolutely.
And learning and understanding about those cases.
And it's not often that Jed Mercurio does these sort of editorial speeches.
True.
More in the first series where there's those two PCs who are having to deal with paperwork and stuff like that. And that feels like very much a comment, but I think there's so much plot in these later series that they just don't have time to do that. So yeah, he's definitely come back to this is his podium and this is this is his TED Talk and TED Talk.
TED Talk, yeah. Oh, well done. Is that in your notes?
No, it's not.
Oh.
That was a happy mistake.
Well done.
Ted leaves, comes back. Thought he was going to do
like,
this.
what is he going to do? What is
He
he going to do?
confesses to everything.
And then it leaves it with Carmichael. He doesn't confess to everything. He doesn't say anything about the money.
No.
He doesn't say anything about the money. He just says,
Just
here is a bit of information.
Doesn't go to the fully illegal activity that he did. Just the
Exactly.
Yeah, he deals with his conscience, I think, is...
But he also puts what's the word I'm looking for? He puts this weight on her, on Carmichael, after making that speech. And you can see in Anna Maxwell Martin's eyes, the way she acts is she's thinking about it. She's really thinking about her position in this force and what she wants to be. And he then puts that on her shoulders and says, you do with that what you think, Mom. So does she do something with it? Does she not?
He is tempting her to charge him and open up the floodgates, I think, is the answer. He then leaves. We get the big three going down in a lift, which looks like the comeback album of an indie band from the 90s.
Didn't it just?
Yeah.
That was an interesting shot.
Yes.
I wasn't quite sure what to make of it. It looked a bit CGI'd.
Well,
it is.
It totally is,
right.
Yeah.
I know they wanted the three of them together.
Because the glass is a different colour to where it comes down.
Is it symbolic? Is there some sort of symbolism there of them going down? Not leaving.
I've already covered my thoughts on Kate and Steve.
Yeah, stop it. We're not going there tonight, love. It's not that sort of podcast. I just mean, is it the end of AC12 in that, they're leaving the building is what that was my feeling with it. I know it's really open. You said at the beginning of our recording that you would come back to this and that you had lots of notes about this.
Yeah.
What's your feeling here? You said that there was just too much to let it
I think there's too
go.
much of Ted still being linked with the OCG. I think that they are laying the groundwork for a Kate and Steve romance that no one wants to see. I guarantee no one wants to see it, unless if you want to see it, in which case I apologise. Not you, I'm talking to the listener. No. Yeah. I think they are totally going to carry this on. I think that there will be now a time jump of a year, as we usually see, and Carmichael will either be... Well, Jed probably doesn't know yet, and he will...
all right, you're speaking for Jed, are you?
I don't think he has these all planned out. I think he sort of lays groundwork, and then I think he looks at things and
sees where it goes.
He's probably got a whiteboard the size of
I really hope
house,
so. Yeah,
and
that's how I think about it.
We've got something from here and put it forwards, and we've got this from here,
and we'll work it round.
We'll move it together.
I'd love to know if he had Buckles lined up from the beginning. Now he must have known something to do with Buckles, otherwise he wouldn't have keep bringing him back. But you think this is like a Lost scenario where it's grown as it's gone on, and there hasn't been this six series arc as it would be.
There is no way when it starts.
Yeah.
Buckles is going to be the villain in season 6.
Yeah, because we didn't know we would get to this.
Because if he is, then Jed Mercurio is a genius.
But
bear in mind, it was planning on ending 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back, and
because you never know whether you're going to get the same actor coming back as well, and whether that character would even be progressing through. Brilliant for Nigel Boyle, by the way, as Buckles. I mean, what an amazing role for him. Yeah. I'm so pleased for him as well. I don't even know him, but I was so pleased that he got to come and see this through, having been someone who's been through all those series. It really pays off, I think, as someone who's in a Jed Mercurio production like this, that you might one day be the fourth man. You never know if your character's going to end up on the end of a pier with their throat cut, or you're going to end up in the glass box. That must be fascinating.
Long
for
enough
those
timeline,
people.
Amanda is going to be the ones doing this. There's no corruption on the with Chloe and Manit. No, she's dead. Who else can we have? Behind them?
You know what?
Lomax.
I'm terrible with Lomax is probably the only one who's sort of like untainted,
with
isn't
the ghost
he?
of Manit's going. Woo, there is. I'm feeling quite giddy. We've still got the end bits to do.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to come on to that.
A lovely, lovely, lovely scene of Terry. He's been acquitted of everything, and he goes in, finds a new home. They've got a little banner up. Another girl who's learning disabled comes up and gives him a big hug when he arrives. It was so heartwarming.
Yeah, it was really, really lovely, and it was great to see, looking at his welfare, and they were also going to investigate how, for all that time he was being controlled by the OCG, and as a vulnerable person, he was not able to have anyone come and support him.
Yes.
I really, really like that. And it's just a lovely ending, and you sort of feel like, oh, good, he's going to live somewhere. It looks like it's like independent living.
Yes.
He's going to go and live somewhere with friends, and he's going to have a lovely time. And you just sort of think, good. Joe Davison gets a really lovely ending as well.
No.
Oh, hang on.
We've got two more first.
Oh, hang on. We're not doing it right. We have to do it. We have to do it in an order.
I've got notes, love. I've missed half the season.
I was doing it thematically, but no, you go ahead.
Charge against Frida have been dropped. Darren Hunter's being investigated for the murder.
Can we go back to Frida?
Yes.
Frida's now she's gone back to policing. I think Frida still has a lot of things she needs to work out. Do you remember at the beginning what she was like with Joe Davison, with all the cutting up of the clothes and all of this sort of business? I think she has issues that she needs to work through.
Nah.
All right.
I mean, compared to like half the other policemen in here, she's a saint.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I just kind of thought, she kind of got away with things, didn't she? Apart from the fact she was tortured in prison. But, putting that to one side.
She got away with it, yeah. If anything, she should be glad.
Darren Hunter. What were you going to say?
Darren Hunter has been investigated for the murder of Lawrence Christopher.
But they're not interested in opening up cold cases, which I thought was interesting.
Absolutely.
And Carmichael says that as well, didn't she? Like, we're not going to go there.
Yeah. Go on then, you can talk about it. Talk about the dog.
Joe and the dog and her girlfriend.
Yes.
It was amazing hair. I thought it was just lovely. The beautiful, picturesque cottage that she comes out of. The love it. It's like a red door. The dog, the girlfriend, the country like cottagey clothes they were wearing.
Gilet.
The lovely hats, and the walk down the tree line, like the trees with the leaves falling. Yeah, it was lovely. Why are you looking at me like that?
Pride and Prejudice or something like that?
Because Pride and Prejudice don't have cozy cottagey things. No. Yeah, it was really nice.
Quite lovely.
Who?
Pemberley?
Are you trying to show me your Jane Austen knowledge as part of this podcast?
Yes. Absolutely.
I liked it. Given what she's found out about herself, given her life, I thought it was a lovely ending for her.
I mean, you're not going to dive into anyone's backstory there, is it?
How do you mean?
Well, your girlfriend asks you, so where did you grow up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I was thinking that, actually. I was like,
I grew up in the Midlands.
Well, she did a lot better than Jill Bigelow, who ends up living in, like, you when you saw where she ended up, it was like an end of terrace sort of flat type place.
Yes.
Into one that didn't look particularly great. It definitely wasn't a beautiful cottage with a red door and a dog.
No. Yeah. Fair point. I think it's a bit of favouritism, but yeah, there we go. And then Buckles ends up in a vulnerable persons unit, so obviously playing on the protection that Joe was afforded earlier.
But he's smiling.
Yes.
Because it says, because obviously he can read the title card, but it says underneath his little face that they are looking to give him immunity. What?
I'm sure I've just been reminded of a film where they do this at the end, and then a guy looks down and goes, "Nice one," something like that. It's probably like Road Trip,
what it is, but
something like that.
Double thumbs up from Buckles.
Yeah, when he sees that he's not going to be invested. Is it that Osborne has pulled, or is it Carmichael? Someone's pulled to say that anything from the trial will not be made public.
Yes, it's not in the interest of the public. He's going to have immunity.
Yes.
And then, says an AC-12 has never been weaker. That was the big, thing at the end. But there was nothing else about, like, Super Chloe. It doesn't say, Chloe was seconded to a unit where her super competence was rewarded.
P.S. She is Tony Gates' daughter.
Yeah, well, let's not say anything about that. Yeah, it didn't. I would have liked to have seen sort of what happened to her. I think she was sort of left just floating, and she had so many good scenes, and she was so instrumental in bringing this information to these people. All the time, Chloe's bringing them the things that breaks the case all the way through the series, and I felt she was a little bit sort of left out towards the end. I know they've got the main three. I know the main three have been there since the beginning, and I know people come and go all the time, and they're really, really good characters, really brilliant actors, and those three are meant to be our core. But I thought Chloe, really could have. we could have seen what had happened to her, or maybe she'd got a commendation, or I don't know.
She'll be DCI next season.
Well, I hope so.
I mean, I don't know whether as we've established, I've just
You
said
wouldn't
some
know.
letters
Yeah,
that I know mean.
That would be a gigantic leap, and she would have missed out about 3 different steps. But you never know with the show.
Wait, who's DCI at the minute?
So that's Carmichael. Carmichael? Is she DCI? Oh, now you see, you've caught me. I'm sure she was at one point.
What was Steve made to?
Steve's a DI.
No, but he was made to be
From a
else.
DS to a DI. So detective sergeant to a detective inspector. Now a DCI is a detective chief inspector. So I don't know if that's Ted. Is Ted DCI Hastings?
Superintendent.
Oh, he's a superintendent Hastings, yeah. Wow. I don't know.
None of this makes sense.
You would think after 7 episodes of doing this strange instant reaction podcast, we would actually get information like this. People at home are screaming. You realise that?
You'd think it'd be like Star Trek, where they've got like the black and gold pips on, so we know
just
exactly.
know.
I mean, I know they've got the
What does
stripes,
it mean?
but they just wear suits in this, or waistcoats if you Steve.
Too right.
So comes the end of our podcast.
Oh wow, that's been a strange seven weeks.
Thank you
It's been
so
amazing.
much for listening. We are blown away by how many people have listened, how many people have got in touch about it. I think next week we are going to do the last 2 minutes of Call the Midwife and do a podcast on that, because we've seen that every week, and it looks pretty bland, but we'll see if we can get half an hour out of that and rob you of more sleep.
It's amazing, the idea. I mean, you came up with the idea, so credit to you for
I don't even remember that, but
you just thought, let's do something different with this particular podcast. Let's do instant reaction, because you're right, and you said this on our, let's drop it in, on our interview with BBC Radio Newcastle that we had earlier this week. But I wasn't going to say it, but now I remember. You said this on that interview, that that Line of Duty has become like an event, particularly after what has happened in the UK with so many lockdowns, with the pandemic, with having some really, really challenging times across the world as well as in the UK. I think television is often seen as being light and fluffy. It's seen to be something that's maybe throwaway. And I think the Line of Duty and the response to Line of Duty has really shown us how important culture is in times of stress and in times of challenge. This has brought so many people together. And I saw something earlier on Twitter where someone had said that they had felt so lonely because they were alone during the lockdown in the UK, and we've had sort of 3 lockdowns, is it now, in the UK, where people haven't been allowed to see their family and friends. We are very lucky in that we live together. We've bubbled together for a long time, because we were doing that even before the pandemic, because our son was vulnerable. So we've been together, and we always say we're a team and we help each other out. And to imagine being by yourself and not having that ability to have a hug from someone or to talk to someone about how you're feeling must be really, really difficult. And Line of Duty, for a lot of people, from what I'm seeing tonight on social media, has been something where they felt a sense of community, especially because of the online nature where people are sharing their theories and look at us doing a podcast about it.
It's like a World Cup, where you go on and there's everyone talking about it, and everyone's talking about, you get a text half an hour before. I got a text half an hour before the episode going, I'm so excited. I don't think there isn't another show that I can think of immediately we could do this for. Because I mean, we could do it for anything. We could do it for Call the Midwife, last 2 minutes, 2 minutes of midwife.
You've done that, Joe Love.
Yeah, but I don't think there is anything on the UK telly right now that demands appointment watching ever since Game of Thrones has gone, because we used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watch Game of Thrones.
And we did for the original series 1 of Westworld, for example, until that didn't work.
Well, I mean, both of them eventually fell apart. Game of Thrones ended, Westworld is still limping on in many ways, but there is nothing that I think would drive people to a podcast other than Game of Thrones, unless you go into something which becomes part of pop culture, like Love Island when it comes out or something like that. And I don't think we need to be doing 5 nightly podcasts.
I really don't think that would be good for our relationship.
I don't think, well, yeah, You could do it with other people if you
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah.
We'll have an open podcasting relationship. I wouldn't be. Because it clashes with Match of the Day as well. So.
Oh, well, you know, we can't have that. But it's been such a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And like you say, instant reaction, just getting the recorder out. I mean, what's the time now?
It's 10 to.
Like 10 to 11 at night. Who would have thought that we'd be sat hiding out in our house so that our son can't hear us and wake up, and just chatting about what Hastings has been doing and whether you think the first bit's right, whether people have been texting you lackluster and all of this sort of stuff. You know, who would have thought that you know would be something that would give us so much like real joy actually, and keep us going through these quite difficult times. So yeah, thank you everyone who has taken the time out to listen to us complete weirdos rambling on through sleep deprivation as well. Who knows what we are saying sometime. I like look at you and go, what have you just said?
I think my favourite moments are when we make a theory and then immediately go online after finishing recording it and find out that it's completely wrong.
Or that someone's thought of it sort of 10 weeks ago and we've been given us really good props about it, and then it's like, no.
It's been obvious.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the end of the instant reaction, line of duty, urgent exit required podcast. Yeah, no, I was getting there. But if you are interested in listening to two idiots rambling on about TV and film, we do all sorts of different shows.
TVs, films. TVs?
Oh, yeah. It is late. So yeah, please subscribe. And subscribe to our feed. You can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Just look for The Honeymoon Period.
TheHoneymoonPeriod.com.
Oh yes, we're thehoneymoonperiod.com now. You can just go to a website and you find us.
I'm still amazed that we got that .com. Because how has no one done thehoneymoonperiod.com? Like,
exactly, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, check out
we only paid
thehoneymoonperiod.com.
$20,000 for it, and
yeah, right. We haven't got money hidden in our loft. Ted Hastings hasn't been to our house. I wish.
well done. I'm impressed with that.
Thank you. We should end there.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better than this.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.